My name is Marietta Mahani, and this week's Aqua tip, I'm using the kickboard and I'm going to do the surfing action. I've talked about surfing before, and that's where you've got your hands flat on the board and notice how big the board is. So I've got small hands and I can almost cover the entire surface area. The big board's way harder to do this with. So keep that in mind. If you've got the really big boards, you need to hop in the pool, give it a go, see what you need to do to change it. But I've got my hands on the board, my wrists on the board. Surfing is when you tilt the board in the water. That's what I call surfing. And you can tilt it near the surface or you can go down low, which makes it harder. But I'm going to couple that with another movement pattern. We're going to do a kick to the front. Now, a kick to the front, and I'm going to bring my heels down. So I'm bringing my heels down, and now I'm surfing the board. And I'm taking the board from side to side. It's a fast kick, so it's not a big slow kick. So I've got my heels going down. Now if you want to work a bit harder, you take the board lower. Oh my God. And now, you've got your hamstrings working because you're pulling the heels down. You've got the quads working because you're lifting your leg up. You've got your abdominals working hard to brace, claws on. You've got your shoulders pushing the board down. You've got your chest working. It's hard to know what's not working. And then there's the heart rate. Such a cool exercise. So for your participants that are maybe not that strong, this is the option one, and they do what I call a skim, where they're not tilting the board in the water. So they're just skimming from side to side. And they can push the board underneath the water a little bit if they like. It gets a little bit harder to control it. You get more control once you actually start tilting the board. And then I say if you want to work even harder, you can tilt it more. Yep. Or push it down lower under the water. And it's a really cool exercise. You know, the kickboard doesn't get used much in a lot of water classes, and I think it's a really good tool. And it's available in abundance, you know, if you work at any major pool. They usually have a lot of kickboards. Every person just needs one. You don't need a lot of equipment. And this is a great exercise. I hope you give it a go. And that's this week's Aqua tip. If you want to demonstrate anything with the kickboard well, you need two other items other than a kickboard. You need 1 and 2 rubber bands. Now you can see that I've got they're quite thick, they're not the thin rubber bands. So I had to purchase them at like an office store where they have like really thick rubber bands. These ones are 15 millimeters wide. I'll tell you why. This is why. You're gonna place your hands underneath so it looks like your hands is floating on top of the board like you do in the pool. So awesome. And this makes it much easier for your participants to also understand, but hey, it makes it easier for you to demonstrate. So whenever I teach my kickboard classes, I put 2 rubber bands on across the width of it, and then I can play around with where my hand grip's going to be. All right, so we've got the bands on, rubber bands on. We've got our hands on the top of the kickboard. And basically, you're just demonstrating a kick to the front with the arms moving forwards. So I mentioned that you might want to start by doing a surfing movement pattern. A skimming movement pattern with the kick. So you get people to kick to the front and then you get them to add the arms. Now, this is actually a bit weird and strange to demonstrate on land because normally you want to thrust your arms forward in the same direction as your legs, whereas now our arms are going sideways and I'm locked in by what I've got my hand position. So this is what you want to think about doing. You want to teach them how to kick forward first. You might want to start with that and say, okay, now make sure you bring your heels down to the bottom of the pool. Now let's add some arms. So we're going to start by doing a skim. So see how I'm not jumping around. I'm sort of like, I'm pacing, I'm sort of stepping it out more than anything, but I'm still lifting my leg up. So it's not lift your leg up and now take your arms across. There's no energy in that. And hey, you're an aqua instructor, you're in the fitness industry. Get a little jump in your feet, get a little spring. It's all good, right? Because you're a demonstration of fitness, Yeah. So rather than going, all right everyone, now we're kicking to the front and we're going to surf the board. Oh, come on. Now we're kicking to the front and we're going to start to surf the board. Now notice how I stopped to demonstrate the surfing, because there's too much going on. When you're trying to demonstrate the surf and the kick, yeah, it's a little bit tricky. So demonstrate the kick, then stop and demonstrate the surf. And then talk to them about the angle of the movement, where they need to feel it in their abdominals, in their chest, in their back, in their legs. And make sure that they're aware that this is not an easy exercise. Be careful. One thing I will say to you as instructors, watch that you're not throwing your arms all the way out to the side like this, because that's not what's happening in the pool. You're sort of surfing just in front of the body. So sort of like a little bit wider than your torso, realistically. You don't want to be like going all the way out here like this. Come on everyone, make it bigger, because you can't make it that much bigger in the pool. So be realistic, try it out in the water first, and that is this week's Aqua tip.